right, thank you so much. So we're going to bring up all the amazing people that you saw in this film now, and we're going to do a panel discussion. So please, if you have any questions, think about them. And why don't we start bringing people up? Mayor Reynolds, come on up. Neville, come on up. Veronica, Quartez, come on up. Wacker, Kassie, Hilgert, and Wallen, and Guillermo Lopez. All right, so Tammy, I think how this is going to work is if you have a question, you can throw your hand up and I'll just point at you and then you can ask the question. Are we running mics to the people as well? Yeah, okay,
We
cool.
sure are.
So Tammy made me make a promise to her that I would stay in the general vicinity. So if you want to go, and then if anyone has a question over here, let me know. I'm going to go back here in the back.
I could go loud.
Okay,
You can go loud.
I could go loud. Okay, so I know Mayor Reynolds was born in Bethlehem.
Fountain Hill, so not bad.
Okay.
Hey,
So now you want to be from outside Bethlehem. Got it. How many of the panel were not born in Bethlehem? Thank you.
Okay, yes.
I should also be loud, doesn't
I got you, Sean.
Oh, thank you. So I'm Sean Ziller, I'm the Deputy Director of Economic Development for the city. So economic development, big reason of why I chose to come to work for Bethlehem is the community you have here, the business community. So for the business owners on the panel, what's the number one reason for why you continue to remain and stay in Bethlehem?
I suppose I should answer that. Neville, Gardner, Donegal Square, and I'm currently the co-chair of Downtown Bethlehem Association. So we'll be in business 40 years next year, which is kind of crazy. I think the thing about Bethlehem is that when you come here, it doesn't feel like you're in America. Now, for those of you who are American, that's not an insult. That just means that there's a level of, the architecture, just the feeling, for me, reminds me a lot of being somewhere else, being in Europe, being in Ireland, being in Germany. That's the first part that strikes me, and I think we're a small business community who are very helpful to each other. And as Brian said in the film, the theory that the rising tide lifts all boats makes it a pleasure to be part of. You occasionally will hit your head off a wall, but for the most part, we've been moving forward. And I think the support from city government. We had the governor of Pennsylvania in Bethlehem this morning. That was kind of cool. And obviously there's an attempt being made to support homeless people, to support people who don't have as much as other people. So as a business owner, for me it's a pleasure to be able to help people who need help. And I think our community is very willing to do that. So that's a big part of it. Also, our customers, for the most part, are fantastic. We've got customers who come from Long Island, from Washington, D.C., from all over the country, and with the whole UNESCO possibility, that could even increase more. So as a business owner, it's great to be in a place where we've got such amazing foot traffic, all the festivals, like the ArtsQuest. My business has grown on the back of ArtsQuest, Music Fest, Chris Kindlemart, Celtic Classic, the Christmas season. That's why I'm still in business, because of all those great events that I don't have to invent all of them. A lot of them have been invented by other people, which is fantastic.
Derek Wallen, Country Club Brewing, roasted in Lehigh Valley Printing. For Country Club, we say the water. Super great water for brewing beer. But no, honestly, we get such support from the City of Bethlehem as well as the residents. We have such great programming that brings so much traffic in. I mean, Music Fest brings over 1 million people a year. And, that's not unnoticed by businesses. And we just love the people. I can't see having roasted anywhere else. Between the hybrid of Lehigh students during session and Lehigh Valley people during the summer, we just are fully supported. Whether there's other issues like parking and things like that, always people are there to patronize us and support us in everything we do.
On the flip side of a younger business, we're under 10 years old. What was interesting for us is when we were starting, a media company in a smaller city, we're looking around saying, wait, all the resources are here. There's people I can take out to lunch who have done this and they're gonna give me real advice. There's a local bank who's gonna work with me to really talk to me about what I need to do. There's local insurance agents who are gonna really run me through things, So we were able to start our digital media business because of the community in Bethlehem. I don't think I would have wanted to try that outside of the area, so it's really been helpful for us.
I mean, I can definitely just pick Quartez and more for the taste smokers and me and more Veronica here, but I think rolling it all up, all of the things you just heard, Bethlehem is a small business incubator, and I say that to say many of the people that are gonna support you here are probably trying to work on their small business themselves. So you kind of get a tit for tat, and somebody supports you, you find out what they do, and then so on and so forth. You end up needing their services, and it kind of is just a cycle ongoing. Resources is a thing. Everybody up here knows some resources come up short. Anytime you end up coming up short and there's a gap that needs to be filled, nine times out of 10, you're going to be able to tap into this network that we all have to find what you're missing or find what that gap is and get it filled. So it's just really a close-knit community, and I think we're really lucky, to have found this kind of niche of a place. So that's all I was going to say.
Yes.
You're and I.
Brian, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. I leaned over to Earl and I said, I'm going to start crying, and I pretty much did. My question is, what do you hope that viewer of this video takes away?
Well, the first thing that I want to say about literally every single person on the stage, one of the first things that they said, I would always say, thank you so much for letting me be here with you. And they all said the same thing. We're so excited. We're so excited. And I thought that, coming in as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, when that is the quick energy that you're met with, I'm so excited to be co-creating with you, to be participating with you, I think is a gift. And it's something that I really love. And it opened my heart up a lot to try and tell these stories in a true way, and in a brave way, and in a demonstrative way of what's actually happening. I think that what I hope people see is, number one, that these people are excited to be here. Every single person on this stage is doing something that they're excited about doing. And I think that in a world where you are constantly bombarded with bad news, and every time you turn on a TV or open a phone, you are at risk of going into a depression. To see that there are people that look and come from different places and look differently and have different motivations and dreams and stories and histories, and they can all find a place to live, be excited about that place that they live, but also what they give to that place. I think that Q just said it perfectly. It's the thing that blew me away about this film was that everybody is trying to help everybody else out. And we live in New York most of the year, and I don't know if I can say the same thing there. Now it's a different speed and it's everything, but New York is very much go and get yours. If you can do it here, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And in Bethlehem, it's hey, I got the restaurant, you got the art, you want to collab, and you want to film it? Oh, and Mary, you want to come and give some talk? So it's really special. It really is special. And so what I hope is that people see, number one, you can do something that you love. That's what I really hope people see. Number two, even if you don't know what that thing is, my goal with this whole Love Letters project is for some kid in Chicago that's 16 years old that loves barbecue to see this random love letter to Bethlehem film and be like, yo, that's me. I want to start a barbecue company. I didn't even know I could. But now I know somebody else that did, right? Or somebody else that says, like, I like taking pictures and making videos. Oh, other people are actually doing that for a living? You have to consider that a lot of people in the world don't have any exposure to curiosity. And a lot of people in the world don't have any exposure to possibility beyond their block or beyond their world or whatever their parents have instilled in them. So my big goal with this is to show you can love where you live, you can do what you love, you can contribute to your community in a meaningful way, and you can have a generosity of spirit that's willing to share that with other people to hopefully inspire people to say, like, I can do that too. I can actually do that too. And I believe in myself because I believe in this person, and I believe in humanity because I believe in this concept. Thanks for your question.
So first I want to say I'm so grateful to everyone on this panel, and like that was really, really moving. And Sheila, your question about like who here was born in Bethlehem, the way I heard that question was a lot of times people come to this area and they don't feel like they're going to fit in. And so to see a panel full of people that like have come from somewhere else that have made Bethlehem their home is really inspiring. And so there's that piece. But the second piece is everyone has a different perspective here and a different like departure point. I'm curious as to like, we saw a little glimpse of the past, we saw like what you're doing presently. How do you envision the future? Like what is your, like, I know Veronica has her kids, and I know Guillermo was talking about the Latino community and how we pass the baton, right? To be able to make sure others have access to, equitable outcomes. And so for me, for each of you, like how do you envision the future, and how do you envision like your piece and creating like access for opportunity, whether that's in business or the arts or in what you're doing? Like what does that look like for you tangibly over the next 20 years?
I'll speak on that because you mentioned my beautiful babies. I could talk about them all day. But for me, it's always about giving more than what you have, right? And so being able to look to the future generation the same way that our ancestors looked to us to be trailblazers, right? And so we have to impart in our children and our youth what it takes, right? We have to be the living example in front of them of what's possible. Because based upon what we're working with technology now, there's many other things in front of them that tells them what's possible and tells them the route in which to go. And it's our responsibility to share and teach them the way of this is how you get it. This is how you're able to obtain it. And this is how you obtain it in a fair and just way that's equitable for everyone. Q and I always talk about before we're restaurateurs, we are community advocates first and foremost. We have an obligation to serve. It is not just for us to be here slinging meat, right? Smoking meat on the pit that you all see at the Victory House lot, right? Being a part of the community in that way. But it's about what are you doing with the life that you have right now that is borrowed, so that you have an opportunity to make sure that our youth see something that they're able to grasp onto, right? And to say, I can do this, right? I am able to have that chance that maybe my family members didn't have, but now that, we see them doing X, Y, and Z in the shop. And just for an example, when you come into the Taste Smokers is the living room for our kids. They're like, welcome to the Taste Smokers. You may see somebody riding a scooter. You may hear her saying, get the scooter in the back, like don't ride around in the main dining room, right? But they're greeting customers, right? They see people coming into our space And they feel an obligation to make sure that they feel at home, that they feel that they can connect to the people who are walking through the door. And it's more of an obligation for them to say, welcome to our space. You are required to interact with us, right? And so for us, it's like, we're not going to tell them to sit down. We're not going to tell them don't do that. We're going to allow for them to interact with people because that is what we want them to do. That's what we want to teach them. Our daughter, when she was 2 years old, when we were on the streets in Hellertown, she was passing out barbecue sauce and napkins and forks to people, right? We hope you enjoy your food. We have to be able to be that example that our youth need. And so for us, it's about the future of seeing our babies, right? And our teenagers who need to have a positive outlet, who are in the streets right now, but need to see people who are doing things that they want to do, but they don't see that it's possible. So we just have to be that beacon of light for them.
I'll add to that. I would say, I mean, working from home, you have to have a discipline. Like, I could sit and I can be in my jammy pants all day and I can, oh gosh, I've been watching TV for the last 3 hours. I can't do that. I have to work, so I have to not do that. I have to teach myself that this is my responsibility to run my business, to get my work done, and there's nobody who's breathing over my shoulder telling me what shoes I have to wear or what uniform I have to put on, but I still have to do the work, and I've become very proud of that. And I want my daughter and all of her friends and all of their ages to understand that it's really important to really care about what you do, but you can't care about it unless you actually care about it. You can't force that. And so it's sort of evolved over time to be what it is, because I love what it is. I love what I do. I love meeting everybody that I meet. And part of what we do is a little different every day. We'll interview a person who is all the way across the country because they filmed a video in this area. Or we might meet a 16-year-old because she makes delicious cupcakes and she needs a couple of dollars for her class field trip. Whatever it might be, I'm so proud of everything that we do. And I want her to always be proud of what she does, because of what she does is worthy to be proud of. So I think that's what it is, honestly. Yeah.
I guess I would start by saying that, Brian, I want to thank you too because what you saw there was a bunch of people that represent what people love about the city of Bethlehem. And that's the idea that there are things that we have in common, but yet we seek happiness in each other. And I think the question from Janine about what you see over the next 10, 15, 20 years, I think is a really important one, because I'm big on analogies now. You might know I have a baby at home. So it's like my mom always says that there's a challenge at every age. So there's a challenge now with the fact that we have a 1-year-old. And that's kind of like how the city was. 20 years ago, there were challenges that no longer are challenges. And now we have new challenges. And we're going to have new challenges in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years. But what we have is we have a spirit of community where people come here and they bring their energy and they bring their creativity. And I would make the analogy, it's like putting your phone down. Because all of those things that happen when you're on your phone, when you're in your own space, and we all need that time sometimes, you're there by yourself. And what we have, and Kassie, this is my fake commercial for Music Fest, what Music Fest does is it brings everybody together for free. Buy one beer, at least one beer, Kassie, there you go. But we share moments together. We walk around, we see bands we never saw before, we see people we've never met before, and we get to exhibit life as it's meant to be lived with each other. And more, I think people look at life in America as a competition. And it's not a competition in Bethlehem. And it can't be a competition going forward. And the reason why we've created all of these wonderful things in this city, where people that have been here with those 300 years, Guillermo, you said, at Bethlehem Steel, or the people that moved here a few years ago, we're showing people that this is the way to live. And that's what your film did, was show the fact that there's a spirit and there's a vibe here that comes down to the way that there's so many people here that are inspiring in that. But the challenges, though, with technology and social media and just the negativity out there, I think existentially are only going to increase in the coming years, which is why it's so important for us constantly self-reflecting on what can we do to not lose that sense of community and the idea that we create joy from seeing joy in other people. And you see that at Taste Smokers, you see that at Lehigh Valley with Love, at least the modern days, George. 15 years ago, you were a little bit, Neville place.
Another documentary.
Roasted, yeah, Kassie, Guillermo. That's what we do. Like, we are doing positive things. And I think we're all worn down by negativity where we are. And I think all of our challenge is not to answer Janine's question today, but just be committed to, that's why we have success, and that's what you want to live about here, is the fact that this is a place where we enjoy living with other people, meeting new people, and sharing their success. It is not a competition. And I think that's our biggest challenge, is making that be part of who we are as a community going forward.
Yeah. I think a lot of this is to do with energy. You know, so the energy that comes from within our business community being projected out to the world, the universe. That's why people want to come to Bethlehem. That's why my friend Rocco is turning the Boyd into 200 apartments. You know, the foot traffic, the people that want to come here, businesses who want to come to the Valley because of ArtsQuest, because of Music Fest, because of Celtic Classic. People come here and they just fall in love with it because the energy's here. And I think as long as we can produce that energy and project it out, we're going to continue to attract people here to be a part of that energy. So I think it's huge.
I'll just say what's going through my head. And I don't know that I'll answer the question. But one thing that I think that is beautiful about the city of Bethlehem is we have access to each other. That I can call Mayor Reynolds. I mean, I actually have his cell. Whoever heard that you have the mayor's cell? It's that kind of access. And people get back to you, that we can have difficult conversations, that I think that this is a community that actually practices interrupting harm and treats people better than they expect. That's how I see this city, is how we operate. We may not put it in those kind of words, but I believe that is the vibe of this city. When you think about the whole valley, when you think about the state of Pennsylvania, I believe this is one of the cities that throughout the country people want to move to. That says something.
If I can just add to that, so I moved here from not being from here, but I grew up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. For anyone who knows it, is the only other Moravian settlement in the country. So when I moved here at 11, I'm like, every city has a Moravian settlement. It's like the greatest place in the world. I would go to Atlanta, I'm like, where's your Moravian settlement? Not the greatest academic person when I was a youngster, and blessed to be where I am in this job and working with great people and watching this community rise up to literally build a city within a city for Music Fest. But the thing, to answer your question, Janine, that has stuck with me for a long time, and I hope it doesn't sound morbid, I think a lot about God's Acre. God's Acre is where we were all buried next to each other, regardless of where we were in our station in life. I think today's Bethlehem is living next to each other in our stations in life, regardless of where we come from. I think that's the thing we've got to keep remembering, is that when we stand next to each other and we talk to each other, the negativity we're talking about, Mayor, we don't go to our corners with our phones, and we get together communally to experience anything. Our amazing small businesses, our arts and culture, our entrepreneurs, when we stand next to each other, we are literally stronger together. So to your question, I think our future is rooted, as the mayor has taught me, in our history. That's in our DNA. And when you move here, the beauty of Bethlehem is you are now part of that DNA, no matter who you are and where you come from.
I think it's just a continuation of support. You know, I came here in 2009. I moved here from Nazareth, so not too far away. And, you know, I was always like, when I have kids, I'm going to move back to Nazareth. School district was awesome. And, you know, now that I have a kid, I'm like, I love Bethlehem. You know, we can make it and grow, you know, the community and keep the growth, keep ahead of the curve, keep advancing, you know, through technology, through all the extra buildings and apartment housing and houses going up. You know, as we keep advancing, you know, just teaching our kids those same values and just keep going and keep growing as a community, because we've grown something so great, especially in the past 20 years with the expansion of like Southside and everything like that.
I do not sell these t-shirts, but have you seen the Bethlehem t-shirts, right? I just love the concept. If you're not familiar, Bethlehem is like a way, Bethlum, is a way that people who are from here will say it, and that's the right way to say it. And then you have an argument online that, no, you're supposed to say it Bethlehem or whatever it may be. But the point is, we're all talking about the same concept, is that we're proud of our city, and we love it, and we'll buy t-shirts with the name of it spelled wrong, just so that we can see other people on the street, and they know what we mean. And that's just like a really neat thing that I love that exists. Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions? Yes. Oh, sorry, Debbie.
I'm here.
Other side.
I'm good. You got this like this.
Yeah. Good evening. Thank you so much. This has been absolutely amazing, and I really love the diversity of the panel. So thank you so much. What can we do between now and the end of the year to support your individual businesses?
That's really easy. We have an event coming up from August 1st to 11th. If we all come out and support, but in all seriousness, when you see food vendors in the north side and all the business on the north side, they are hiring extra staff to be able to handle the crowds that are coming. The city and the law enforcement, of which we have more than 12 agencies working, we're building a city within a city. The 800 volunteers that come out, 500 a day. This is not about ArtsQuest, because we can talk about economics later, but Music Fest built everything else we do, and now everything else we do supports Music Fest, believe it or not, for a free music festival. The best thing you can do, from my selfish perspective, is support the small businesses, come out and support the performers, come out and thank the volunteers, thank the staff, and let's show the world everything Brian captured so beautifully in that film. So thank you for that question, and pardon me for interrupting.
Totally agree. The Taste Home is making a debut at Music Fest this year. In that area, so make sure that you go. We'll be next to All Shucks Corn, so come and get your barbecue. So you can't say you don't know where to find us. I've given you the exact location.
It's funny though. Do people ever ask you, do you like Music Fest?
Yes, they do.
And what do you say?
Of course.
If you can't answer that way, you shouldn't be in business, right?
And so, in all seriousness, note, we have amazing opportunities here. I moved to Bethlehem from Chicago, Illinois in 2007, and it's been my home, away from home, even our short spurt in Allentown for a little bit of time. But this is Lehigh Valley, or Love Letters to Bethlehem, I recognize that. But here's what I will say. I think that it's really important for us to maintain a mentality of supporting small, and meaning that, and challenging that with our dollars, right? Because you asked us the question of how we can support the businesses, right? So we just have to be real clear and transparent on what that actually looks like. During the pandemic, people in the Lehigh Valley saved small businesses, saved them, specifically those who were in the restaurant industry because of the stipulations that were put into place. There were many times that we were like, oh God, what are we going to do? How are we going to make it, right? Perseverance, faith, all those things got us through, but it was the real serious nature of the consumer and those who were being able to use power with their dollars to make sure that they said, we're going to sustain our community. And when we sustain our community, not just during Music Fest, not just during the festivals, but all year round, right? If you ask a business owner, what is the thing that they go to sleep at night and worry about is sustainability, right? How do we make sure that even when we're on a high note, even when things are going great, how do we sustain that? And so we have to make sure that we understand that we're all a part of this together, and the consumer cannot do this without the business, and the business cannot do it without the consumer. So we are grateful for the conscious effort and the conscious action of the consumer dollar, but we definitely need to make sure that we spread that out throughout the year.
And I would add to that, those are clapping, sorry, Veronica, is we all can be ambassadors too for these businesses. Your friends trust you probably more than they trust anybody else. So your ability to be able to explain to them why it's important to support these people. And this is something we see a lot. And I mean, Music Fest is the biggest example where people think everything is free because it doesn't cost anything to go there. Is that it is important for people to understand what the cost is. It's important for people to understand what Veronica's experience is, or Derek's, or Neville's, or anybody else's. Because a lot of the things people like in Bethlehem, they like the concept and the idea of them. They like that they're there. But when it comes down to is like, are you actually going to go to the business? There's still a group of people that are like, I'm going to go to the cheapest place I can find to be able to buy this thing. And thankfully, as Veronica said, we have a lot of educated consumers here. But we've seen a lot of good businesses in Bethlehem that have not survived. And because I think sometimes we have not always supported the business, and we've been willing to have the conversation. And I'm not saying about any business up here. But okay, so that costs 34 cents more, but it's worth going because this is what Neville does, and this is why it's such a good product and things like that, or Veronica or anybody else. We can't ask the small businesses to explain to our consumers about why they should be coming into their stores. That we should be doing that for them as well by word of mouth, and that's an easy thing for us to do, is talk about Derek's Coffee or Neville's store or whatever it is. And I think sometimes that's kind of like the next level that we don't always think about, is like, oh, they have my business. But we also have all of these networks of friends, and the way this survives and the way this builds and the way we attract good small business, because any small business owner would tell you, or maybe they wouldn't, because it can be scary, and it can be a difficult, stressful time depending on what's going on. But they need to be able to count on us as their backbone. That there is that situation, that whether or not it's a pandemic or not, we are the ambassadors, we're talking to people, and we're getting new people into their store, because small business communities like the ones in Bethlehem don't happen by accident. It's because you have loyal customers, and it's on all of us to try to expand that pool of loyal customers for our businesses.
I think that, first of all, I really appreciate the question. It's a very kind question. And it's just so perfect for Bethlehem. It's like, what can we do to help you guys? You know, the first thing that I would say, just piggybacking on what Veronica said and the mayor said, is that support your small businesses with your dollar. You know, and also what you were saying, Mayor, about how it's our job as consumers and as people to be ambassadors. I really think that that's a core tenet to the Love Letters platform and the Love Letters work that we do. It's really shining light on people that are making the world a better place and that are doing things that they love. So, you know, it's sort of like we should all be paying you to ask that question. But for me, you know, I'm actually a business owner myself. Love Letters to the World is a business. And thank you so much to the Chamber and to the Bethlehem Council and all the people that brought me on to do this, but this is a business. So Love Letters to the World is geographically located, you know, geographically centered in terms of we do Love Letters to Bethlehem, to Allentown, and to San Francisco, to New York, but also I'm expanding it to Love Letters to your organization, to Music Fest, to your company, to your small business, to yourself, to your city. So if anybody in this audience wants to do a series of love letters or a love letter, please come talk to me afterwards. That is how I'm able to keep going, right? And this is a really, I was just talking to Molly about this yesterday, this is a really important conversation that I think we don't have enough as business owners, which is like, we work so hard. I'm thinking about my business every single minute of the day. And everyone that's out there that runs businesses know that that's true. Now, I'm not like a psychotic person where I'm just like only thinking about my business all the time. I have a beautiful life, but I'm thinking about it all the time. And I think the thing that we don't talk about enough, which is why I'm so grateful for your question, is like, we don't say enough, hey, can you guys, if you have a little bit of extra cash or a lot of extra cash, support us? Right. Like straight up, we need it. And even if you don't say it, we're thinking about it all the time. And you don't want to come across as like a salesy, like, you know, slimy salesperson, but when you do what you love and you believe in it, I have no problem saying, like, if anyone wants to work with me with love letters to your whatever, come talk to me. The second thing that I would say, how you can help me as a business owner, is you can be happy with your own life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Like, you can go out and do something that you love. And it doesn't necessarily have to even be that you leave your 9-to-5 job and start a business because you think you love it, because you want to be a chef, and these guys inspire you. Now you want to start a restaurant, but then 3 days in, you're like, I don't want to be a chef. I just want to cook for my mom and dad once a week, you know? My plea for all of you is that if you have an itch, scratch it. If you have something that you think you want to do, try it. It doesn't mean that you have to make huge sacrifices and give up everything in your life, but just give yourself a chance to spend the 60, 70, 80, 90 years that we have as working professionals to do something that you actually enjoy doing. Because that is how this all works. Love letters to the world doesn't happen unless you have people that love letter themselves to the world. And the thing that I have seen the most is that when you give yourself a chance to be happy, good things happen for your community. Because you're good and you're happy, and then you want to know how you can be happy and how can I make you happy and make you happy. So that's the second kind of spin of the answer is go do something you love, and last thing I'll say, take a freaking bet on yourself. I don't know, there's one person out here right now that needs to hear that. Like, you got this.
No risk and no biscuit.
Go! No risk and no biscuit. I love that. I really wish I was as cool as these two. Like, I walked in, last thing I'll say, I know I said it 3 times. I walked into their restaurant, and they walked in, and I think we like walked in together, and I was just like, oh man, I'm actually kind of like intimidated right now because the level of swag, you know, and that's why I was like, yo, can you guys just walk together? Like, all I want you to do is, they're like, what do you want to do? I'm like, walk. Like, just walk in your matching denim outfit, just walk. Just walk. No, but really, like, that, what I'm trying to say with that joke is that I think that you feel, and I felt it with every single person up here. You feel. Like Derek, all these people, but Derek we sat down and roasted and had a meal, and he's like, yeah, I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. And there was like 16 things. And I'm like, oh, cool, so that's what you do for your business? And he's like, nah, I won't roast it. And I really think that it's like that. Neville's, I mean, everyone's doing the same thing. You know, I walked out with every single one of these interviews. I walked out with Kassie, and I was like, yo, my energy is electrified. You know, electrified. So that's what I would say. I would say, give yourself a chance to be happy. I think everybody on this stage has done that, and that's why, you know, hopefully we enjoy this, and that's why things in the city work and the world works. So take a chance on you. It's worth it. There's nothing that's worth it more. Nothing.
Something to say, and then we have one more thing from the audience, one more question or comment from. She wants to add something. Hold on.
I don't need that either.
She doesn't.
I used to speak for a minute. I did want to give everyone the idea that what I did during the pandemic to save one of my favorite restaurants downtown on South Side is I bought gift certificates. So stores and your restaurants, you'll have the money in your pocket then, and then I could go to the restaurant or go to your store anytime I want. So I think that's
I do want to say that we are some difficult times, and I think the mayor alluded to that there is some discord going on, and I think we have to be intentional to address it. And I think some of the work that I have learned to do that I'm seeing is needed more than ever, and that is just some basic how do we get along. Just 101. When I get hired into this workplace with a group of people, everybody's sort of in their corner waiting. We have to do icebreakers in such a way that people start building relationships and move forward together. I have a saying with groups that I train: when one of you gets sick, the rest of you should be nurses. And that's how our community should be. We have to figure out this I'm right and you're wrong, and no one's listening, and we have to figure out how to have conversations and then listen to what someone has to say. And we have to encourage that more. And I know Bethlehem's a great place, and I think we can lead that kind of thing for everyone else.
Let's just give one more big round of applause for all these people. Thank you so much for coming and spending a couple hours with us. It really means a lot. And go out there and love somebody and love yourself. And thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure.